So now that you know a little bit about the adhesive and how the environment affects it, I'm going to tell you how to use the glue. The usage of the glue depends on the method of lash extensions that you're using. For classic lashes, you need to pick up a different amount of adhesive than you would for volume lash extensions. Because classic lashes are single and they're all like a solid surface, when you dip it into the glue, it doesn't pick up the glue from the middle. It only picks the glue up from the outside. Whereas volume fins, it's multiple lashes mixed together, so it ends up looking like this. So when you dip it into the glue, it's not just picking up the glue from the perimeter, it's also picking from the inside. So if it picks up from the inside, even though you technically dip it in the same amount as you would with classics, it would pick up way more glue than you need. So for classic lashes, we dip the extension 1/3 into the glue, and for volume lashes, we dip it 1/5 into the glue. What do I mean by 1/3 and 1/5? Because it depends on the length. Every single lash is different. They come in so many lengths. So a 7mm lash as opposed to a 14mm lash are going to need different amounts of glue. A 7mm lash will only need 1/3 of its own lash length, but a 14mm lash will need 1/3 of its own lash length. So you can see different lashes will need different amount of dipping. So I will not recommend dipping, let's say 1 or 2mm into the glue, because it really depends on the length that you're working with. The longer the extension is, the more support that it will need in order for it to hold on to the natural lashes. The shorter the extensions are, the less support that they need. So when it comes down to volume lashes, the same theory applies. It's 1/5 of shorter volume fans and 1/5 of longer volume fan lengths. I hope that makes sense.
How much adhesive? This illustration will show you how much glue you need exactly on your eyelash extensions. As you can tell, you always want to put the extension right in the middle of the glue. Never swipe the lash out, as you can see in this picture, because if you swipe it out, you will only be picking the tacky part of the glue out. The glue always gets dried on the outer corners first, on the perimeter, and that's why you always want to get right in the middle, because the middle part of the glue is always the freshest that it can be. And this is exactly how it would be shown once you dip it and take it out. Over here, it will just wipe off the excess bad glue. Now, how far do you want to dip the lash in? So you want to dip the extension 1/3 of its length into the glue. As you can see, you can still see a thin layer of the glue right on the lash. If you don't see a thin layer, even though this one is dipped in glue, chances are there's not enough glue. You really need more in order for the lashes to last. And if you see little beads like this, that's too much glue. Again, if it's micro beads, it's okay. Once it gets in touch with the natural lash, it will disappear. But if you see quite a few beads, that's too much. It will only result in stickies. Now, how far do you want to dip the lash in? You don't want it to dip it less than 1/3, because it will not hold on enough. It will dry very quick and it will look nice and neat, but it will not last. It's going to give you retention issues. If you dip it in any further than 1/3, yes, it's going to last, but now they're going to feel very stiff and it's going to cause excess weight on the natural lash. It's not only the extension that causes extra weight on the natural lash, it's also the amount of adhesive you have. So when you compare this one and this one to this one, this is exactly how all of your lashes should look like once they're dipped into the glue. And this is a real life example of how lashes look like once they're dipped in a glue. As you can see, this one over here has perfect amount of glue. You can see that there's a thin layer, but it's not overly coated. This one over here was dipped too much, and you can see there are beads on the lashes. If there's only this one bead, that's fine. That's what I call a micro bead. But this one over here is going to take way too long to dry, and it's going to stick to other lashes, causing stickies. If you do get more adhesive on your lashes than you want to, what you want to do is dab the excess on the jade stone or the sticker, whatever is holding your glue. Again, just dab it, do not swipe. If you swipe, you're only wiping all the adhesive off. But if you only dab, you will dab the excess without getting rid of all the adhesive. Remember, you want the lashes to last. You don't want to remove all the adhesive, which is going to hold it onto the natural lash.
I highly recommend to stick by the amount of adhesive that you use based on my recommendations, because if you use less glue than you need, you will have retention issues because now you don't have enough glue for it to hold on. Even though it will dry quicker and they're gonna feel super duper soft, what's the point of having lashes if they're all gonna fall off? Now, if you pick up a lot of glue, is it going to make it last longer? Not really. The only thing that's gonna make it last longer is the correct application and the right amount of adhesive. If you pick up more adhesive than you need to, now your lashes will feel very, very stiff, very crispy. They're not gonna feel comfortable. They're not gonna feel fluffy. On top of that, you're adding extra weight onto the natural lashes. It's not just the length of the extension that affects the natural lashes and can potentially cause damage. Another thing that adds the weight to the natural lashes is also how much glue you use. So the more you use, the heavier it will be, the more likely you can cause damage. I've had clients before come to me from other lash techs, and even though they're using super fine, super soft lashes, they use so much glue that even with 0.12s, they can still cause damage. If you do pick up beads when you take your extension out of the glue, you want to make sure you dab the excess off. You don't want to wipe it off. If you wipe all the excess off, chances are you're going to wipe all the adhesive off, and then you're going to have retention issues because now there's no glue for the extension to hold onto. So you want to dab off the excess so that way you remove all the glue that you don't need without removing the part that you do need. The best way to dab the excess off is on the jade stone or the tape that you have your adhesive on. Do not dab or wipe the excess adhesive off underneath the eyes on the iPad, because if you do, you're just exposing the client's eyes to more fumes than there already is. So never ever wipe the excess off under the iPads. Instead, wipe it off on your working area where your adhesive is. If you do pick up more adhesive than needed, it will result in longer drying time. The quality of your work will be compromised because now the extensions will not dry in time, which can cause them to kind of flip-flop, or if you are doing volume lashes, the glue will travel up your fan and close it right up. Or it can even make your fan completely collapse. And also, if you have too much glue, it will result in getting stickies. Stickies mean that the neighboring lashes and extensions have been glued together because the glue didn't have enough time to dry, resulting in getting glued to all the lashes that are beside it. Now, on the other hand, if you don't pick up enough glue, even though it will make your work extremely fast, you will love it, now you're gonna have retention issues, because extensions do need enough glue for it to hold on, because the clients will go on vacations, they will sleep on their lashes, they will wear makeup, they will neglect them, brush them, do all these things to their lashes. So if you are super gentle with the lashes and not using enough glue, they will not survive all that abuse the clients put the natural lashes through. Sometimes, even when we use enough glue and we apply it on the client's natural lashes, even though they stick and you are using enough glue, the glue may already be dried. If not 100%, at least 70, 80, or even 90%. That 10, 20 to 30% of the glue is enough for the extension to hold onto the natural lash, but it does not mean that it will last. That's why I highly encourage you to replace your glue job every 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that your glue batch is always fresh. If you can't remember, I know sometimes as lash artists we can get so into our work and so focused that we forget that we need to replace the glue. In that case, set a timer for every 10 minutes so that way you can constantly be reminded to change your glue in time. So I'm gonna tell you my trick in how I know that my lashes, well, they're not my lashes, they're my client's lashes, but I'm gonna tell you about a trick that I personally use, that I test the set that I created if it's going to last or not. As soon as I start applying lashes, about 15-20 minutes into it, I start brushing them. I don't like to brush them too often, but when I do brush them, I am a little bit aggressive with them. The reason why I'm aggressive when I brush is because if the lashes pop off and they don't stay on the natural lash, one, maximum two, okay, sure, I can reapply them, they didn't attach on properly. But if more than 2 extensions fall out when you brush them, that's a red flag. It means that your retention is not gonna be good because you either don't have enough glue or your glue is drying before you. So while you're doing lashes, make sure you brush it and give it like a good brush, so that way the extensions, you can test them if they're lasting or not. Whenever I brush my client's lashes, I like to lift the lid so that way I have more control and brush them. Do not brush the lid. The client's lids are very, very sensitive. So if the client feels the bristles of the brush on the lid, it's not gonna feel good. It's gonna hurt them. So be careful. Brush the lashes, be as aggressive as you want with the lashes, but be very gentle on the lid.